Hey, what's up guys? Earned a Worm here again with another action figure review. And this time we're having a look at a knockoff Figma One Punch Man. Now I call these knockoffs, but these are factory overrun or defects. They're made with the same molds in the same factory as the originals. But these are ones that either had a slight defect and was going to get thrown out, or an employee took their lunch break and made them some models to sell. I have heard these types of figures called lunch break models. This figure I gave $18 for, compared to the original at about $55-$60, maybe even more now. This One Punch Man figure stands in between about 5 1/4 and 5 1/2 inches tall. Okay, we'll start by looking at all the different accessories he comes with. And he does come with these crossed arms. I have no idea what these are for, if they're just to plug in the holes or what, but they will come out. And they kind of look like flesh maracas. I do like those crossed arms though. You get a separate serious One Punch Man head sculpt. And this is where like they've broke his apartment and spilled his coffee and he's finally serious. I'm going to one punch them. Or he's sleepy and yawning. You get One Punch Man's coffee cup full of baby diarrhea. Don't think I've ever drank a cup of coffee that looked like that, so I may color that actual coffee colored. You get several different sets of hands. He has fisted hands on him. You get these high five hands. You get these slightly open gripping hands for when you're home alone. You get these slightly closed up butt scratching hands. And of course you have to have a hand to hold that coffee cup that is full of mustard. Okay, and his cape easily comes on and off, but it does come with a plug to go in the back. See, there is some holes that line up and you can put this peg in it, but the peg is huge and sticks way out. See, so there's what he looks like with that cape pegged in. The peg sticks out 1/4 inch, so I don't even use it. The cape sets on his back just fine. There is another little peg that goes on the stand that can be removed. That will go in his back, and I'm pretty sure that one will as well go through that cape and in his back. Yeah, they are the same size. But you get this little Figma stand, and I really like this stand. It's very small, and I like that about it. A lot of the other stands you get with figures have a huge base, which sometimes you do need a larger base for some flying poses. Hey, then there is the cape. And it does just set on his shoulders. If he's just standing, it should stay just fine. It does have a couple of pegs on it that articulate. Oh look, I gave One Punch Man flowing white cape hair. But it's nicely done, and you could probably swap that out on any other figure you wanted to as well. Okay, now on to this figure itself. And the sculpt and everything on this figure is just like the original, but I do have some problems with some of the joints. Now, I don't know if the regular Figma joints are bad about this, but some of them have popped apart on me. And they pop apart at the seam, right in the center there where the actual articulation happens. Also, I had such a problem with this neck joint just completely falling off and falling apart. There's a ball joint at the bottom of the neck that goes into the upper torso. It absolutely would not stay in there, so I finally super glued it. Then the neck would not stay on the ball joint that I super glued in. So I finally super glued the neck to that ball joint that is super glued to the torso. So that's been aggravating. But again, I gave $18 for this figure compared to $55 or $60. And One Punch Man is not really a series I'm all that crazily invested in. I have watched probably 5 or 6 episodes and I do enjoy it. I even don't mind reading the subtitles that much. But when you have 3 kids, it's kind of hard to read subtitles and keep up with them. But you can tell by looking at this figure just how well the sculpt and everything is. I mean, it's got to be dead on to the original, which I do not have. If I did, I would not have bought a knockoff. But if I find a cheap knockoff, I do like to pick them up just to have a look at them for you guys, just in case someone's interested. One thing I find really weird about the sculpt on this One Punch Man though is underneath his arms, this big cave they put there for his arms to set down. But on articulation on this One Punch Man, there should be articulation at the bottom of the neck on a ball joint. But his head is on like a weird double ball joint and disc. See, there's a ball joint that goes into the actual head, then one under it that's on a disc, and then it actually pegs into the neck, which is super glued down. Because I could not even turn this figure anything without this falling into like 3 pieces. So I fixed him, I did. But on the shoulders, again, you have that double ball joint. One ball joint that goes in the socket, one on a disc here, and then it pegs into the arm. So you can get any movement you want there. And with the swivel there, you really don't need an upper bicep swivel. That pretty much takes care of that. You have a single bend at the elbow, but you do get a nice bend there. Wrist is pegged in and on a disc. At the diaphragm, you do have some crunch. And working that with the ab crunch, he can bend over very far. He doesn't go back a whole lot, and he will swivel at both of those spots as well. This crotch piece is a separate floating piece in there, and then there's a Y-shaped ball joint in there. One that connects to the midsection, the other 2 are on the legs. So you can do this. But your legs will go out to the side, they'll go forward, they'll go back, and they will rotate in and out as well. You get a nice single bend at the knee. It'll even go forward the wrong way, like he has a broken knee. Then he does have ankle pivot, and he does have toe articulation. But now I'll take a second and try and get a couple poses with him. So about 2 poses in, I actually broke one of his wrist pegs switching out some hands. I know his hand's on him now, but that's actually because I happen to have some small Revoltech joints. I had to file it down a little bit, but it worked. But yes, one of the wrist pegs did break. But that is my look at this Figma One Punch Man action figure. It can be frustrating with it breaking and falling apart and things, but like I said, I'm not that invested in One Punch Man. I'm not even sure yet in the series how he actually got his powers. All I know is he said he did like 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups. So if you're just a casual fan of the show and want something to show that, I say this figure would be alright. But that is all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye for now.